AskReddit by Inevitable had 2508. What is the worst porn you have ever seen? Two people banging in a pretty usual scene, but there's a smoke alarm beeping every 30 seconds in the background. It's insanely distracting. Oh, good for you, Mr. Stamina. It wouldn't bother me because I'd only hear it twice. Fat. Old. Bald man wanking. Then realized TV was off. Black Mirror. Pterodactyl porn. A bunch of dudes painted green with big dinosaur masks on flapping their wings and dancing around a single girl being gangbanged by all the dinosaurs. That one was hilarious, lol. There's a Cosby Show parody porn. It had the fake intro with all the kids. The actors are clearly adults BTW. I just saw the intro, but, yeah, I ain't watching that. The irony here is that it starred the real Bill Cosby and all the other actors were unconscious. This one old school porn where this bald dude sticks his head into this one lady's vaginal. What? Where the cameraman never shuts up a damp, tries to give pointers or weird comments. I don't wanna sound like a queer or nothing, but I'd kind of like to make love to you right now. There's one from the 70s called The Farmer or similar. Starring Bodil Jensen, who was nicknamed Queen of the Boris because she preferred pigs. Actual pigs. The entire film is shot on some weird farm, and is just as nasty as you imagine it to be, probably even worse. Edit. To add some info, a Fakers was made by Color Climax in Denmark, which made several insane porn productions. And yes, there is a documentary of Bodil Jensen. It is available on YouTube by Ike. Her life was horrible, as she grew up being molested and raped several times. She probably developed some severe mental illness, and she basically lost all interest in humans at a very young age. She preferred animals. That was fucking legal in the 70s? Messed up. That one ET porn wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I had a hard time understanding the dialogue because I don't speak Portuguese. To those wondering, the film is Portuguese and that one part involves a decidedly female ET in a maid's outfit. As I do not understand the Portuguese language, I have no understanding of how she was in this particular garb or why it was necessary for ET to be banged out while wearing the aforementioned garb. Also, the actress, or possible extraterrestrial, as I do not understand the labor laws of Portugal, was quite beautiful and the costume was not at all additive, as she was quite enchanting without. Deleted. Is that the sex of 87? Dennis's sex tapes. All balls and arsehole. Slap 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 slap. Who likes that? Who finds that sexy? Log jamming the story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here. Anything that has to do with a mondo huge, I think that's what they are called, dildos with the girth of a street light pole. I've never wished I could unread something more until now. I saw this one where it was one chick and 50 dudes. Each dude busted on her face or in her mouth, and she collected it into a cup. At the end, she poured the cup onto a skillet and ate it. Still makes my stomach upset to think about. The smells. You didn't think of the smell, you bitch. I do not remember the name, but long ago, early 90s perhaps, we thought it would be fun and funny to go to a theater and see 3D porn. It was not. Blah. 3D was still very new then too. It looks like it's coming right at me. Worst porn I've seen? Porn that I've seen once, liked, and not been able to find since. There's no worse porn than porn you're not able to find. Haha, happened to me once. I used every brain cell and found it somehow, with just a general idea of the plot, only to find that it wasn't nearly as good as I remembered it being. Last year, Miso and I filmed ourselves doing it. Then, Watched it on our anniversary. You're never as good as you think you look. 2 girls 1 cup. 1 guy 1 jar. I once saw a DeviantArt page of a furry that had pages and pages of mispaint drawings of baby characters from The Lion King wrapped up in spider web and encased in snow like a snowman. Technically SFW, but you can bet your ass he masturbated to it. Was it this guy? https://yarn-clip/9775884699994-3B652E1E1028 . Any clown porn not being watched in high-speed rewind. The one I accidentally found starring my parents. Gross. Link. Anything with sounding, not kink shaming. I just can't. One time when I was like 13 I jacked it and for whatever reason shot an uncommonly viscous load. I went to clean off the little bit on the tip and ended up just pulling a string of more and more out. After a second it started feeling really good, then really good, then fucking amazing. I didn't have another orgasm or anything, but it felt good enough that I still remember it almost 30 years later. I've been kind of just hoping it will happen again someday, because even knowing how good it felt I still would never put anything up there on purpose. I try to avoid the really out there stuff, and thankfully haven't seen most of the things already mentioned here, but man, those Germans can do some fucked up stuff, and even the most mainstream of German porn. I have this theory that the reason the Germans and Japanese allied in WWII is because they saw each other's pornography and were just like, no one will ever understand me the way you do. Ghetto gaggers and facial abuse. It's obviously sexual assault and coercion and rape, but they've covered their bases legally, so they seem to be able to continue. They seem worse than GDP, who were shut down, but somehow have avoided consequences. Basically they get the girl to say she's cool with it all at the beginning, then they crank up the abuse until she breaks and ignore withdrawal of consent, and then get her to say it was all good at the end by threatening to withhold payment. You can read an in-depth article. I realize a lot of people think that going to porn shoots means you're giving up your human rights, but it doesn't. These are sexual predators that have found a system for roping in desperate people and manipulating them into abusive situations. They should be in prison. I just read the article, and I am absolutely disgusted, both at what those women had to endure and the attitude of the actual company. I honestly just can't even find the words to describe how appalled and disturbed I am. A girl jacking off a horse. Shit, I dated a girl whose parents owned thoroughbreds. I walked up on her mom collecting a specimen. Worst thing I've ever seen. Porns that specifically cater to one looking underage. That cannot be healthy. I wonder if they use it to bait pedos.